And away we go. We've now got our paychecks with our jobs. We know the difference between the gross pay, which is our total amount, and our net pay, which is our take-home amount. Now it's time to start figuring out where we're going to live. Reflection 3, which has now been loaded up to your Google Classroom accounts, is going to talk about renting and buying. Now, we've done some of the comparisons in class already, but now it's time to look around East Troy and see what we can find. So as you open up Reflection 3, let's find out, first off, what's available to rent. Now, as you do that, certain questions you have to ask yourself. How many bedrooms do you need? Well, if it's just going to be you, maybe one is enough. Some would like to have two, one for themselves and one is a study. Some people have one to themselves and one they'll put as storage or they'll make into a workout room or anything like that. How many bathrooms do you need? A full bathroom is a bathroom with a shower as well as the toilet. A half bath is just a toilet. What kind of prices are you finding? Well, you take a look as we go through. You'll see some different prices here in East Troy. And again, what amenities are you finding? A lot of times if you go to certain places now, apartment complex is trying to get you to make sure you pick them. They'll have things such as a small pool or maybe a workout room, or some even now are having small restaurants within them. You want to see what little extras each place has to offer. Now here in East Troy, you might not get as many offerings as you get into Waukesha and such. And also, are there any extra costs? Can you have a pet there? Do they charge you for that? Are they paying for your utilities, your heating, your cooling? And we'll find that out as we go today. So to start out, let's find out what's for available to rent here in East Troy. This will pretty much so be a play around area for you. You'll see as you put in here, oh, automatically for me it popped into East Troy. If it didn't, you can put East Troy in. You can put 53120 in. And I'm not going to worry about the rent range or the better baths. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on go. And you'll see that the choices in East Troy are somewhat limited. You're the Honey Creek Apartments, the Wildwood Apartments. There's a house on Edwards appears to be available for rent. That apartment complex. Let's click on it and find out. Edwards Street. Oh, there is indeed an apartment over on Edwards Street. And you can play around, stop the video at this time, and just take a look at a lot of different places, find out what the prices are. So at this time, go ahead and turn the video off, or stop the video rather, and just take a look at apartments. Okay, moving on now. There's another rental site if you want to take a peek. Also in East Troy, let's find out what's available to buy. For those of you not sure if you want to rent or buy, again, buying gives you equity in a home. It is yours as you pay it off and turn around to sell it. That money comes back to you. If the housing market is good, you get something. There is a well-known site called Trulia out there that will list all the homes available. And again, I'm freeloaded to East Troy already. You can put in East Troy. Or if you wanted to look at a different community, I know my second hour lovelies, you yesterday were looking at Detroit, Milwaukee, and Baltimore quite a bit just to check crime rates out. But if you want to try out houses in East Troy, this would be a great place to look. You can see several different houses. You can zoom in or you can zoom out. This first one you see here is 95,000. That's a condominium. The difference between a condominium and a house is pretty well you have in one building you have different condominium units. It's like an apartment, but you own your area. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's find a nice 182,000 house. I have no idea what this is, so if you know somebody here, I apologize. I'm just clicking on it. You can go ahead and start looking around a house for $182,000. You can see all the photos for the pictures. Take a look. It's a greenhouse. It's got a detached garage. And a lot of things going on. So you can take a look at the pictures. Now, one thing it does here, it gives you an estimated mortgage. That's your estimated payment. We're going to give you a calculator soon. You'll figure some things out. But you can always look, and based on what your salary is, you can start figuring out how much do you want to spend of your salary, your net pay on a place to live. So again, stop the video and take a look around at several of the different houses. I'm going to give you 5 to 10 minutes in class to do that today. maybe even a little bit longer if the conversations are good. So again, stop the video at this time and begin looking around. Well, now the question is, what should you do? Where you've got some prices, you've looked, maybe you already know exactly what you want to do. Um, Sometimes buying is cheaper than renting. So why don't more people buy? Well, there's something called closing costs and down payments. Many places it used to be 20% you had to come up with. Now they'll take as low as 5% of a house's value to get in to the house. There's also closing costs. You have to pay people to do all the legal documentation for buying the house. Well, if you rent, you have to pay a 1 month security deposit. You will be drawing a card to know how much money you have available in your account to use for these things, and that could help you make your decision as well. There's a couple of things that makes buying more difficult. So on what should you do? If you go there, you'll find that the U.S. average, as it loads, for renting is around 2,600. Target home per year, oh, that's quite a bit. Let's pick our area. I'm going to guess that they could find this in Milwaukee. So you find Milwaukee, and the target monthly rent $1,300. Home price was $170,000. Take a look here. Just gather some information. It says here renting cost, owning cost. Looks like buying is cheaper in this area. Buying is 32% cheaper in this area. And again, if you want to see more homes for sale, you can go ahead and take a look at the Milwaukee area. And last but not least, just to make sure we know what we're doing, let's take a look at a mortgage calculator in case you want to buy. I would like to see you choose the comprehensive mortgage calculator. The first one's an easier one, but let's say you find a house. I found that house for $182,000. The down payment is only going to be 5%. So I need a loan of $172,000. The annual interest rate, it fluctuates depending on your credit rating. We talked about that earlier. We're going to go with 4% for this unit. 30 years tends to be what people go with for their first house. That's about as most as you can go. You can refinance later for 15 or less. We'll go with 30 for this, and then go ahead and calculate. It tells me that my monthly payment based on all that is going to be $1,097.54 if I want to buy. Now you look at your net pay. Is that something you can fit in? If it is, fantastic. If you can fit more in, my students with the higher paying jobs, you might want to get a little better house. If it's a little less, you might want to look for a house that costs less. Again, there's a difference between renting and buying, and you have to make a decision that's best for you. And last but not least, and we'll do this probably on Monday, we'll figure out East Troy property taxes. If you want to know what the taxes are, it's a general rule of thumb around 1.5% of the house's value is going to be your cost. So you can multiply the value of your property by 0.015, divide by 12, and that'd be something called your escrow, or your monthly payment that you put aside for paying your taxes off. Then to wrap it up, the questions I'm really going to be looking at: tell me if you're going to buy or rent. Tell me if you have a new address, tell me what it is. I want to know exactly where you're living. Describe your place to live, and then tell me how much it costs. And next week, we'll be putting those into our classroom budgets. All right. It is your hour to work today. Get at it. If you're gone today, please take time and go through these sites. Thanks much, and we'll talk to you in class.